Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to another Will Reads Reviews. Yeah, we're going to review another book. So last time I brought you Hyperion. This time I'm bringing you The Fall of Hyperion. So yeah, we're going to continue on with the next book in the series of the Hyperion Cantos with Hyperion, The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. This book was written about a year after the first one, and we'll get right into the non-spoilery stuff. Stay tuned. After I do this, I'll give a quick spoilery rundown of everything that happens, but just kind of want to talk about the premise of the book and what my thoughts were. And yeah, let's go from there. So you might notice I'm wearing this really, really cool decoration on my hand. Yeah, it's cool. An ace bandage, because I sprained my wrist today. My left hand too. Luckily it wasn't my right hand, because I'm right-handed. But it hurts like crazy. Like if I bend it like this. Yeah. Anyway, enough of my injuries. Hyperion. Rise. Fall. Fall of Hyperion. So there's 4 books. Hyperion, The Fall of Hyperion, Endymion, The Rise of Endymion. So, The Fall of Hyperion. I love this book. Love this book. Whereas the first one on my first read through was a little bit tough, was a little confusing. I probably didn't give it as much justice. I'm actually rereading it again and enjoying it so much more after knowing the rest of the story. It just means so much more. Of course, the first one is that Canterbury Tales-esque, and they're going through and telling each backstory of most of the pilgrims on their way to the Shrike Temple or the Time Tombs to save the world, or so they think. And it ends with them just getting there and kind of just walking down the road, and boom, that's over. We don't really know what happens in the fate of Hyperion. Well, not going to give it away, but the name of the book is The Fall of Hyperion, so maybe something falls. We'll see. But yeah, so this book is not Canterbury Tales at all. This is actually a story. And I just love the way the writing is here. I love the storytelling. I can't just get enough of it. It is amazing. Just the way he pulls so many different things together, and it's just fascinating. It blows my mind because I realize how much research Dan Simmons must have put in to doing these books. So this is from the first book, so you should already know this, but like the main head of the hegemony is in something called Tau City Center. And I was like, oh, that's a cool name for our TC squared. I guess it's the name of the planet. And I was like, Tau City, that's a really interesting name for a planet, our system or whatever. And then lo and behold, the other night I'm with my son and we're looking at, the stars YouTube videos where like it shows you the size of stars. Tau City's a real star. So then I started doing a little bit more, and you have like Bernard's World. Well, there's Bernard's star. And so these are hypothetical planets around real stars in our galaxy, which just blew my mind that actually he did that much research. I mean, this guy was an English teacher, not a physics teacher, not an astrologist, and into astronomy. So I always get that confused. Astrologist, astronomy, astrometer. One looks at zodiac signs, the other one looks at stars. I always get them confused. Anyways, yeah, so it just blew my mind that actually did that much research and that these are real places, not just fictional things made up. There actually is in Hyperion. It's not a planet really. I think it's in the Kuiper Belt. It's like a Pluto. It's a big asteroid thing. I think so. I can probably get more information and maybe do a whole video on it. Probably not going to, but just was so fascinated by those connections once I kind of mind blown discovered that. So, Hyperion. What more can I say about it without getting too much spoilers? The writing is just fantastic. The characters are great. You get some new characters in this, and they're just fully fleshed out, fully developed. You empathize with the characters. You kind of get just because the first one, you really get their backstory already, so like where they're coming from, and that the pain and the feeling, whether it's of course Saul Weintraub and with Rachel and the baby that's going backwards in time, and what happens with that. I'm not going to say it yet, but that's just fascinating. Or Cassad going to fight the Trike, and Martin Silenus just being a crazy old drunk. Just so many cool plot lines, and then just the twists were, mwah, I'm doing chef's kiss on that. Mwah, that just awesome. So I can't stress this enough. Like the first one for me, a little confusing. My first read through, my second read through, I am loving it, but and I probably will actually rate it a little higher than I probably might have my first time reading it. So go back to that video if you want to know how I thought about the first book. But yeah, for this second book, read it. I give it a 9 out of 10. Probably just one of my favorite books. And I know a lot of people don't like this book, and let's talk about that for a second. And I'm trying to figure out why people don't like this book. And maybe it's just because it's so different from the first one. So people that love the first one maybe expect the same thing in the second one, and it's not that. But and maybe you guys saw this plot twist coming, and I'm not going to get into it till I start the spoilers, but there are just so many, like M. Night Shyamalan, like plot twists everywhere that, it just really, really, and yeah, just mind blown. So love the book. I can't recommend it enough. Just awesome. So 9 out of 10. And I'm really harsh on my rating normally. And yeah, this is where the series really opens up for me, and really becomes its own thing. And we'll get to the other books later, but right now we're going to get to spoilers because I can't wait to talk about those. So let's talk about spoilers. Spoiler talk. Yeah, so let's talk about plot first. It'll kind of just a refresher in case it's been a while since you read the book. And then I just want to focus so much on the various plot twists that happen. So you start with Joseph Severin, who actually is Keats, kind of. So Keats died in the first book by the core or whatever. But his persona was put into a Schron loop, like implant within Braun Lamia. So he's kind of still alive in there in her head, kind of, sort of. But of course, the core then creates another Keats personality, and there's just hybrids. So it's like half human, half cyborg thing. And it's John Keats again. And this time he's an advisor to Gladstone. And the reason why he's an advisor is because he can go into the other Keats personalities and then see the pilgrims through his dreams. So he can be like the eyes and ears, literally, for Gladstone about what's going on with the pilgrims. So he's able to kind of spy in, which is kind of cool. But then at the same time, there's plot twists with him because there's a whole entire group as well trying to kill him, because he knows what's going on, or at least has an idea, and they don't even know he's part of the Technocore. They don't even know he's Cybrid. It's this really weird scene. So there's these diplomats, and they're on, I think it's on Tau City Center, and they're meeting. Joseph Severin's there, and the woman that's like an aristocrat's like, paint me, you're an artist. He's like kind of a poet, not really an artist. But I guess Joseph Severin was an artist, but he's actually not really Joseph Severin. He's Keats, but he's taken on the name Joseph Severin, who's one of Keats's friends from the 1800s. Yeah, it gets kind of convoluted, but but it's all just a setup. So she takes him back to her bedroom and pulls her out there, and then some guys come in and try to attack him. And like, what do you know about Hyperion? What's going on there? What's the real reason? Are you working with the ousters? And at that point, he gets saved, and they realize he's a Cybrid and that he can talk to the Technocore, and all this good stuff. So his whole plot line is really, really confusing. And eventually he goes to Earth, which is kind of cool too. Yeah, Earth's still around. Everybody thought it was destroyed, but apparently it was just moved. But they let the humans think that it was destroyed. and the Great Black Hole disaster or whatever. So yeah, so that whole entire plot line is interesting in itself. Just the spy within the dreams, kind of a cool concept. And then you get to the pilgrims themselves, and that's kind of cool too. Weintraub's still wrestling with his Abraham paradox with God, and taking Rachel to the altar and sacrificing his own daughter. Is it a test of man? Is it a test of God? Lots of philosophical stuff, and just love it. Kassad goes and battles the strike, and goes and battles a million strikes, and DeRay gets resurrected. Paul DeRay, only to be killed and resurrected, and then somehow back in Rome, and just gets teleported there. And then Bronlavia gets put into a computer and like sucked into the wall and brain dead, and they're like, and then she gets to meet Ulma, the ultimate intelligence there. And then they kill the Keats personality within her head, not before they tell her she's pregnant and that she's going to have a baby. And there's a lot of stuff around that as well, that she would be the teacher, and a great one, and that Keats was only the one that comes before. Kind of a lot of Christian overlay there with Jesus and John the Baptist. A lot of religious undertones, not even undertones, just flat in your face, philosophical and religious aspects, not just Christianity either. There's Judaism, Buddhism, and then you have, of course, the people that live on Gardens Grove, and the tree people of the tree. And it's just, there's a lot. The Shrike cult, or the Church of the Atonement, as they call it. So you have all this stuff going on. I'm just digressing through all these different plot lines, but let's get to the plot twists. So the main plot that's going through all this is the Ouster invasion on Hyperion. What is going on? And it's just one of those amazing scenes. Like, they see this giant swarm coming into the planet, and Gladstone and all of her commanders are meeting. They're like, what do we do? And like, I guess we need to move much troops over here to protect Hyperion, because it's the variable that the Technical Corps said they did not know, and that it needs to be protected, or it needs to not be dealt with. Actually, Technical Corps said, don't even mess with it. But they said, no, we're going to save this thing. So they take all the resources away from the rest of the worlds, only to find out that the Ousters were going to invade all the worlds at once. Now, how did they do this? So you learn very early on that, like, when you use like faster than light travel and what they call Hawking drives, you can tell where they're going and know from plenty of time ahead that, like, hey, they're on their way over there. We got like months to prepare. But they just show up and it wasn't there. So at first they try to think like, well, maybe they've just been planning this for centuries and centuries, and they've just been moving towards all these planets at a slower than light speed. And literally it would have took them centuries to get in all these positions. And it's like, holy crap, the Ousters have been planning this invasion forever. And just the worlds start falling. I mean, everywhere. Like, all the main worlds of the hegemony just they can't defend themselves. So they're just being taken over and just slabbed and just turned to dust. I mean, just basically just mass destruction. Like, they're just getting their asses handed to them. And while all this is happening, of course, the Time Tombs are opening up. The Shrike's doing its thing, and the consul is finally, he's the secret agent, the double agent, and he tries to go back to get a ship. Finally gets there, realizes he can't go back to help his friends, so he goes to the Ouster swarm to negotiate. Gets there, and they're like, "Yeah, dude, we're not invading anywhere but here. It's not us." And next plot twist, it isn't the Ousters. It's totally the Technocorps, who the humans have trusted and relied on forever, that are finally attacking back the humans to wipe them out and take complete control. You find out that they control the Farcasters completely, so everything faster than light travel, I guess that's the instant travel throughout the universe, is controlled by, so they can send you wherever they want. They can destroy you. Like, it's just, they've had so much, the AI has so much control over the humans, like, and the humans don't even realize how much they've relinquished, that they're just screwed, just completely screwed. The book kind of ends with them having to destroy all the Forecaster portals, and everything shuts off, and you get this really eerie message. The last thing from what they call the Fat Line, which is like their way of communicating faster than light or instant time throughout the entire galaxy, it cuts off, and like one final transmission comes to everyone at once, say, You don't have permission to use this channel anymore. You've been misusing it. Bye. And that's it. Now everyone is separated by light years. And literally, it will take decades for them to get home to their families. People used to commute to different planets for work, and now they're literally light years, decades, or even hundreds of years, even lifetimes away from their loved ones. And it's just chaos throughout the entire galaxy. And of course, Bron Lamia as well defeats the Shrike by turning him into glass and shattering him. And I mean, there's all this stuff that happens. It's just action packed. I love it. I don't really get why people don't like this book. It is literally action from step 1 to step 5,000 at the end. Just can't get enough of it. Recommend it completely. Hopefully you enjoyed these little reviews. I just kind of went on a rant this time just because I don't know really how to do these by myself. And hopefully you're enjoying this format for book reviews. I might try to bring back guests and do panels again. Let me know in the comments. Do you like me just going kind of crazy and ranting about stuff? Or do you want other people and other people's opinions? I'm happy to bring other people on. I just don't know a lot of people that have read Hyperion recently. So it's kind of hard to ask them like, hey, come on and talk about a book you read like 10 years ago. And they don't have time to reread it. So probably Hyperion I'm going to continue to do by myself. When I get back to doing some Sanderson work or maybe some other stuff, I'll find people that have read it recently because I know a lot of people that are working through Sanderson right now. So I'll probably be able to find guests if that's what you want. If you like me just going crazy and ranting, I can just keep doing this. It's fine with me. I don't mind it at all. So let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the Fall of Hyperion. Let me know what you think about the Hyperion Cantos as a whole. And until next time, peace.